Hi guys, what is going on? We are finally here. We are in front of the Great Barrow. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm always looking forward to the Great Barrow with all of my characters just because I think it's so interesting going through levels 1 to 20 and then having that Great Barrow as a goal to either do it solo or see if we can do it in a group and just see how our characters are going to be able to tackle that quite difficult content. So I'm super interested in how Ifaton is going to fare, especially after playing on difficulty 9 for such a long time. Before we go into this though, I want to mix things up a bit. I want to try something new. So you will see my face pop in and out of the screen from time to time just because I want to give you a couple of live commentaries, but then in other situations I will still do voiceovers. So again, this is probably going to be a bit weird. If it is too irritating, this hybrid style, please let me know in the comments. I am trying to make these videos entertaining after all. That's all I wanted to say. Before we go into the Great Barrow itself though, just a few things that I want to talk about very quickly. I just want to give you my build or a general idea of what I'm doing. This is pretty straightforward. Let me just quickly, in terms of my skills, say the most important things. I only put 1 point into split shot because I don't fight bigger groups. I don't use quick shot, the chase I don't value very highly, and improved intent concentration doesn't make sense for me because I don't have any focus issues whatsoever with the way that I play the Blue Hunter. I do go for close quarters. I love the explosion damage from Scourging Blow. I would have even gone for 4 points into this. However, the most controversial decision here probably is hindering shot at this low level. I already put 1 point into this because I really value it highly that we get a 10% run speed decrease for enemies when using Barbed Arrow. In terms of virtues, I personally go for a relatively defensive lineup. I think it just really works for me personally. Fidelity and honor are basically just what I pick on almost all of my characters. I have also put fortitude here because it gives that extra bit morale that I personally find very helpful when going up against stronger enemies. And then for offense, I go for confidence and I go for wit. I might have switched out fortitude for valor if I would have wanted to go a bit more offense. That only leaves gear and jewelry. Jewelry is pretty bad, big disclaimer. I'm trying to be self-sufficient with my characters that I play on high difficulty, so I can only use things like skirmish camps and reputation barters, and we don't get good jewelry at low level there, so this is a huge problem, but it has been fine so far. So we get a bit of agility and a bit of vitality here from these pieces. The necklace is actually pretty decent. 8 will is not to be undervalued, and 51 outgoing healing alongside the vitality is pretty decent. And then we also have a decent ring, but apart from that, the necklaces are truly bad, and this ring here giving might is not amazing either. In terms of gear, we just have everything for level 20. We crafted ourselves, being a tailor. We got some swords from the skirmish camp. These are actually decent, giving 2 vitality and 3 agility. And we crafted our U-bow ourselves, obviously, as well. In terms of stats, 800 morale, agility is at 87, which leads to physical mastery 127%, finesse 20%, which is enough in order to land everything that we want to land, crit rating 12%, and then in terms of mitigations, 44% physical mitigation and 31.8, so 32% tactical mitigation. Those are the stats. We were fine in Horde Earchith. I am super interested what the Great Barrow is going to look like. I guess there is nothing else to talk about. Let's go into this. I messed up the recording in the beginning, so here we go with the 4th enemy instead of the 1st. Expectations are high. Tension is rising. Drumroll please, ladies and gentlemen, for your own safety, if at all possible, stay in your seats. Here comes... Well, that wasn't too bad. 5 or 6 abilities with Scourging Blow just doing a huge amount of damage, and we are still almost at full morale. Let's get a couple more enemies just to make sure this wasn't some random weird coincidence. We move further into the Great Barrow, fight some more wardens, and still don't seem to be in any danger of taking significant damage. After killing 3 elite enemies together, it becomes very clear I will have to readjust the order in which I tackle content for these videos. It's not like the Great Barrow is easy, but Horde Earchith is definitely tougher. So in the future, I might actually go into the Great Barrow first and Horde Earchith after. However, one big question remains. What about the bosses? Getting to the first boss in the maze, I accidentally aggro him whilst still fighting some of the other elite enemies. On top of that, I accidentally get stuck because I thought I could jump over this railway. Wasn't the case. Not a great start into this battle. I get slapped left and right for a few seconds before I notice that I have to change directions. I run down the stairs and keep firing. I'm down to half HP and I wonder, is it still going to be enough to kill the boss? all these enemies and those flipping worms that are going to spawn afterwards. All things considered, we are still in pretty good shape though. Blood Arrow keeps us on our feet, and kiting keeps us away from further harm. We take down the first boss without losing more morale. And here come my least favorite enemies in the entire instance. The undead poison worms of utter despair and never-ending dread. Rudolf and Rüdiger. But my fears are unfounded. With the mobility granted by Iluvatar himself, we manage to stay out of the poison pools and simultaneously do good damage. We manage to send the worms back to their maker before they can do any serious damage themselves. A doable fight. I must have been pretty concentrated though, because I'm surprised to see we still have Press Onward as well as Cry of the Hunter at our disposal. Pretty satisfied with the results, we move deeper into the maze, kill enemies, and pick up quest items. We reach the second boss without further inconveniences. A piece of cake, one might think, but honestly I'm a bit scared of this guy. Not only do I always have trouble against these two, the first of the two bosses also is the naturally worst enemy of ranged classes. The reason? He is ranged himself, and has a lot of morale due to being a boss. I'm unsure of what to do first, attack him or all these minions spawning around us. I go for the minions, but they just keep spawning, and all the while I take damage from the boss. I'm down to half morale when I decide to focus Gurdring again. Luckily I can take him down quickly and only take a bit more damage. The second boss is melee, but we are down to 300 morale. I keep my distance, still take the occasional hit, and start to wonder if I'm going to need my heal. This triggers the complete unnecessary ambition to finish the fight without using Press Onward. Luckily, Blood Arrow and Purge Poison save Ivaton from suffering the painful consequences of my arrogance, and we finish the boss with roughly 100 morale. Another opportunity for Ivaton to blow off some steam with celebratory acrobatics. The axe we get as a reward is not bad, but also not significantly better, and Ivaton decides 2 swords is more stylish than combining one with such a brute piece of steel. Given in the quests we have completed in the maze, I actually get a pretty decent ring, one that gives 10 will. I didn't think that to be impactful in the beginning, but as soon as I saw that this actually improves my physical mastery by 4%, I slotted it right in. No other significant changes? Let's go for Thadur. But this time, live commentary. Okay, let's get rid of that Gaunt Battler first. Gaunt Battler? I don't know what his name... Oh, damn it, we pulled him as well. This should be interesting then. I'm definitely gonna go for this guy first, because, whoops, yeah, there we go. Stunned immediately. Can we snap out of it, please? Thank you very much. Okay, we exploded some bleeds on him, which is definitely going to give us an advantage. Okay, and he's down, which is great. Let's cleanse. Haven't done that in a while. Let's interrupt this guy. We made it, and he's dead, and... Okay, we're fine. When I pulled that Gaunt guy, I thought, you know, this was going to be trouble, but we're actually pretty fine here. We're surprisingly fine. Let's say it like that. Have I mentioned that I absolutely love Scourging Blow? I think it's just a great ability. The amount of damage it does and the need for quick damage is pretty high on this level of difficulty. Yeah, it means survivability, basically. The quicker we kill enemies, the more survivability we get. Right, so in the maze, we mostly find singular enemies, and then in here they are hurdled together as 3 at the very least, and so I thought this might actually be a bit of a bigger challenge, but so far things are pretty fine. Is this already Thadur? Is this the boss already? I think it is. Yes, it is. Thadur the Ravager. As you can see from my concentrated face, multitasking is not a huge strength of mine, and when things get tricky I start mumbling without clear purpose, so let me enlighten you on the situation. Thadur definitely is the most interesting boss yet. He spawns minions, and whilst they are alive, you can't damage him. He puts out a debuff that steals your power, which naturally I forget to cleanse. With the little room we have to kite, you can imagine the likelihood of Ivaton feeling a teeny tiny bit of pressure, and that becomes apparent pretty soon. I actually have to use my heal for the first time. But this doesn't solve my biggest problem. I can't use my skills because I still have no power. Not prepared for this kind of situation, I actually have to open my inventory in order to use a power potion. This helps a bit, and we can continue to use enough skills to do some damage, while doing our best to hold on to as many hit points as we possibly can. I keep running, Blood Arrow helps, luckily remember to use my cleanse this time, kill the minions Thadur has called to his aid again, explode, and we're done. 6 medallions, quite a few marks. Beautiful, and that's it. It always feels a bit weird when finishing off a boss and the only things you get are a couple of medallions. Oh, he said. And then I actually got something pretty decent. And it is part of a set. It doesn't exactly make it worth it to put on this Barrow Scout's jacket, but if I could get more of the set, of the Barrow Scout set, it might just be worth it, especially if I get six pieces. But that's probably not going to happen. Let's get out of here. Sam Brock. I always say Sam Burke. Sam Brock. Do we still have that hope token? Doesn't seem like it. Maybe I should have checked on that. I guess I can still, you know, just use one to make it a bit better. No idea if that makes a big difference for me. Barbed arrow and immediately explode it. And barbed arrow again. Whoop. Saw that debuff again. It seems like Sam Brock might just be able to steal my power as well. Which we don't want happening. Should I even explode him whilst these other spirits are in the room? Feels like they are either protecting him or healing him. I'm not sure though. Let's kite it out. Barbed arrow and explode him. Okay, 500. I was kind of hoping for immediate death, but it didn't happen. Ooh, we got Barrow Scout gauntlets. 11 agility, 4 vitality, finesse and crit rating. So I would switch, I'd get... Yeah, these gloves seem very similar again. Very similar. However, let's just see what this does to my stats when I put these two on. Crit rating, 13.2, improved. Finesse, improved. Physical rating, improved. Great. Okay, we actually got some improvements. We look very weird though. We look weird. So... I mean, in a nice way, I don't know, it's like a mixture of, it reminds me of The Witcher a bit, just because it looks like we could go into battle and to a dinner party at the same time. That was the Great Barrow with the Blue Line Hunter. Pretty fun for me personally. Horde Earchief was tougher, but the Great Barrow was definitely more fun. There is more ups and downs, there is more diversity, there is more mechanics that you have to watch out for, and overall it's tough content. But it is not that tough that you have to be concentrated all the time against every single enemy that you find. So, in my opinion, the Great Barrow is pretty top-notch for soloing at level 23. I hope the video has been fun. If you have any questions, any recommendations for me or for other players, feel free to drop them down below. I'll be happy to answer and everybody can see them. And by the way, if you ever feel like going into the Great Barrow or if you need help in the Great Barrow, my Hunter is definitely going to stay at level 23 and I'm looking to possibly get a couple more of those Barrow down gear pieces because they have a pretty nice set bonus. The biggest trouble might be to find a time slot, but just leave a comment and we'll see if we can make it work. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you're doing well and potentially see you on the next one. Until then, bye.